Sending data. Hopefully we are alive soon here. If we are not already, we will be soon. There we go. And we're live. Looks like it. At least on X. And, you know, that's really only where it matters. So. Oh, there. It helps if you can type. So, once we get tweeted out, we'll get started. But you can see we actually have a title this time, and it's not just like, hey, we're streaming.
We're learning.
Isn't that exciting? Also, the room changed a little bit, if you didn't notice. But the room didn't actually change. The perspective of the room changed.
Well, and it needs to be painted.
We're patching the wall here, so we're going to have to paint a little bit. But it'll look nicer soon.
Yeah.
So, I am David.
I'm Jeff.
Welcome to the Jeff and Jeff podcast. If you haven't already, you should probably like our channel or subscribe to us. But you can do that later, too. We'll remind you later. Today, we're talking about Trump. Arrests, some more arrests, and arrests again. The UK trade deal, Apple breaching the law, and what happened? We got an American Pope.
First time in history.
Also, there's some conspiracy theories around that.
Of course.
So, let's get started. And the only reason, honestly, I put Trump at the headline is because all the liberal podcasters and stuff, that's all they talk about. If you go look at their streams, it's just Trump. They just make up stuff about him. So, you know, might as well join the bandwagon and just talk about Trump.
Exactly.
But we won't make up stuff about him. We'll just tell what other people are saying about him. So today, Trump signed an executive order, which he's been doing a lot lately, rescinding Biden's loony restrictions on refrigerators and gas water heaters.
Yeah, but
what are your thoughts?
Big thing that most people don't realize, it was going to, I think, double the cost of a hot water heater because of the idiotic.
And for what reason? How would it benefit us?
It's not.
What improvements to our lives did it make?
It's kind of like the natural gas furnace that I put in. Mm-hmm. I put in the 80% one.
Yeah.
I could have put in the 96% one, but it was $7,000 more, and it would save me, they estimated, $5 to $10 a month in the winter. And so if you take that calculation, and how long does it take you to get back $7,000?
What's the return on investment of that?
I would have replaced the furnace twice.
Yeah. It's most of these energy efficient things actually aren't energy efficient. And the reason they're not energy efficient, and this is the main reason, okay? In the 70s and 80s, if you bought a furnace or HVAC system, how long did it last?
20, 30 years.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
And you could repair it easily and it'd keep on going.
Yeah.
How long does a modern HVAC system or a boiler last?
You're lucky for 8 years.
So which one is more energy efficient?
Yeah.
Well, over the lifetime.
It's like the refrigerators. You can see a refrigerator from the 1960s.
Oh, yeah.
Still banging along and working fine. May not look pretty. It'd be avocado maybe. But
there's a place on it. There's a channel on Instagram that I follow that restores old refrigerators, so they can make it look whatever color you want. Oh. That way you can get the old fridge with all the amenities. Because if you didn't know, they have all the stuff inside that you'd want, like all the special shelves and the Lazy Susans and all the special. They have all the things that you'd want in a modern fridge that doesn't exist. And also, the shelves don't break off accidentally when you grab them.
Yeah. Well, and the ice maker works. If it has an ice maker.
They probably didn't have an ice maker most of them.
Well, some of them did, even back then, but they were the real top of the line fridges. But we have a new fridge, and the ice maker kind of works. If you get rid of what ice is in there twice in one day, the ice maker will take a week to get it filled again.
Well, our solution to that is we bought a pebbled ice maker for the
countertop. Yeah, but
see.
So you had to buy another appliance to make up for the new appliance.
And that one broke, right. But we got it from Costco, so we returned it and got a full refund and bought another one.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with these gas, water free and refrigerators. It's just insane.
It is insane. It really is. It's just
That this shower head thing too.
What was I can't remember. Best argument against environmentalism. It's also the same for, like, if you care about slavery or anything. Are you going to stop buying things from China? Because if you truly care about the environment, you'd stop buying things from China.
Because they're the number one.
Are you going to stop buying things? Are you going to
India?
Are you going to pay 30 to 40 to 110% more for an American-made product that follows all the environmental regulations, doesn't get built by slave labor, cares about, all the things you pretend to care about? Or are you going to buy that cheap China crap?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're going to buy the cheap China crap? Well, guess what? You don't actually care about the environment then, do you?
Correct. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about Trump more, or should we go on to arrests?
Well, yeah, Trump. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter.
I mean, they're sort of
yeah, they're kind of together.
So the first one is, I'm not sure if I 100% agree with this, but here's a quick video. This lady's an idiot. Audio doesn't matter so much, but this is the U.S. Attorney General, and this lady came up and spit on him. Nominee, sorry. And they will be pursuing her for assault, which comes with 8 years in prison and $250,000 fine. How do I feel about that? That's too much, but she should probably face some consequences.
Well, that's max.
I know, but I'm saying, so when they trot it out like that.
Yeah, they won't get it. She won't get it, but she will be convicted of something. And she should. And so usually the spitting, who gets that, there's lots of other things that are involved in it that they get the 8 years in prison for.
Yeah.
But
so what happened to decorum? Yeah. Public decorum in the United States of America.
Well,
why don't people treat each other nicely on the streets?
Go out to Sam's Club or Walmart on a Saturday morning, and 80% of the people are dressed in what? Pajamas.
Pajamas.
And Crocs. Sometimes they have the Crocs in sports mode, and sometimes they have them in leisure mode. And those who don't know the difference, they can look it up.
Why don't people care, though, anymore about themselves or others?
I think we've shifted our focus in schools to the you're unique, you're special, and you do you because it's you.
But see, I disagree with that, because they say that, but at the same time they say that you came from a pile of dirt. Well, you evolved from apes and you're worthless. Mm-hmm. So which is it? Are you special or are you worthless?
You're a special pile of dirt.
It does really come from morality. If you don't have, if you don't have respect for yourself for the right reasons, then you don't have respect for others. And the reason you respect yourself isn't because you're better than everyone else. It's because you're made in the image of God. You're made special in the image of the God, and so is that other person over there. And so if you don't understand that, then why would you treat anyone?
There's no reason to. It's just a battle of might makes right.
And that's why in the Roman Empire, when they were persecuting the Christians, there are several Romans who are like, why are you going after the Christians? They voluntarily treat people well and do whatever you ask them to do.
But they're subversive because they don't worship
Yep.
who you want to worship.
They're not wards of they don't worship the state in any manner.
Yep.
So that's the first arrest story. There's plenty of them, which is, well, let me ask you this. Have there been enough arrests?
And just to say it simply, no.
Do you think there will be?
Today it came out, somebody leaked something to somebody, and so we can take that as a grain of salt. But they claim that they're building cases right now on the people that stole all that money that Doge has found. And that includes congressmen and women from both sides of the aisle Evidently, they're building cases to take and indict them and take them to court.
Isn't that political prosecution?
It would be if it was only the Democrats, but let me tell you, they're going to catch a lot of so-called Republicans.
Well, in addition, when laws are never enforced except for on your political enemies, when the other side gets in power and starts arresting people just enforcing the laws in general, what's that look like? It seems political because the other side was doing whatever they want because they knew they wouldn't get in trouble.
Yep.
So it is not politically motivated; it's justicely motivated. So I do hope that.
And this is an example. What you've got up is
well, we can go there.
The mayor of New Jersey is going to the ICE Center and break in. It's odd that he's choosing illegals who prey upon his citizens over his citizens.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Pick something else. Pick a...
it is Trump's unique ability to pick something, and the Democrats, they're not required to, but for some reason they're dumb enough to pick the other side. And it's just...
And it's like almost always 80-20 issues.
I don't even think this is 80-20. I think this is like...
99-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's always that. It's always these... They call them 80-20 issues because 80% of the population, at least 80%, agree with what's happening.
Yeah.
And...
And it's... The problem is the federal government has this authority of its own property, and an ICE facility is a federal property. The mayor actually has no authority over federal property. In addition, it's not like they broke in and they just arrested him immediately. Yeah. They broke in. They asked him to leave
multiple times,
several times, and he refused. And then he was arrested.
Yep.
So... I am not a fan of law as the rules by which we live. Like the laws on the books are not the code of morality for which we live, because laws don't often equal morality. But if we have moral laws on the books, they should be enforced. And this is a simple one. You don't get to just break into a federal facility and do whatever you want without any consequences.
Of any
especially when you were
facility.
asked to leave.
Any federal facility.
Any federal facility. It's a property rights thing.
Yeah. And
So that's that one. I think we have possibly one more arrest. One. Oh, yeah. And then this one, Letitia James. Oh, this lady. Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory about why she went after Trump for what she got Trump for?
Yeah.
Because she was doing it, and that's why she knew it was something that she could go after someone for. It is a narcissistic personality trait thing to do, to blame other people for the things you've done. And so I can't say she's unintelligent because I don't know her personally. All I can do is judge her by her actions.
Yes.
Her actions tend to indicate that she has a very low IQ. And that indicates that she doesn't have the ability to think critically about things or think into the future.
See, I don't think it's low IQ.
You don't think so?
I think a lot of these people are really intelligent. What I think is they have got away with literally murder for years and years and years and years. And so they have this mindset, oh, yeah, I know it's wrong, and I know it's against the law, but I won't pay for it if I get caught. I won't. And so I think that's their thought process is, I've never been caught and had to pay any consequences ever. Why shouldn't I do this?
Yeah.
I mean, we have other congressmen and women doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what was another one I heard, that they had like a house in Maryland.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that one. Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but it's the same thing as your...
And I think they were from California, a representative from California. They had a house in Maryland that on the docks they claimed that they were Maryland residents, and that was their primary residence. But they haven't lost their office, their seat.
My general perspective is people in government, whether that is state, local, federal. The simple law that should be on the books is the laws that you force on the general population are the same laws that you should be bound to.
They should never be exempted from a law.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any exemptions they make for themselves are an automatic exemption for everyone else.
Yeah. Insider stock trading is probably
I feel like that would be a
example.
great amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Any law passed to exempt
any law passed is applicable to all government employees.
Or the opposite is true too.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. But
you could simplify it more than what I said, so it would be.
But it's just ridiculous that they think they can get away with this stuff. And honestly, though, I do think because she got away with it, she knew that that was against the law, and that's why she went after Trump for that and made it up for him. They completely fabricated it for him, but she knew that was something that she could go after him from because she literally did it.
The strangest thing in this thing is that she put down that she was married to her father. That's the weirdest thing.
Yes.
To buy the one house.
Omar?
Yeah, Ilhar Omar married her brother.
Yeah, think she had any? They were maybe talking about it. And she's like, well, I married my brother, but so putting your dad down should be fine. Yeah, by the way, if you are concerned or upset that we make fun of elected officials, you don't understand. They need to be made fun of more. They need to be pulled off their high horses and brought down to the level of everyone else because they are no better.
And I'm going to make fun of Trump today.
Yeah, what did he do this time?
He gets horrible advice about Utah politicians. He endorsed for the Utah head of the GOP a horrible, well, not horrible person because I don't know him, but he has horrible. I want to say this appropriately. He really doesn't have the people of Utah in mind. He does. Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, that's we're not showing that yet.
We're not there. We quit showing that. He has not done a good. He's allowed rhinos to control the party is the issue, and so we have two people vying for the head of the GOP. Phil Lyman and this guy, and I don't even remember what his name is, but Trump endorsed the other guy, and he just shouldn't have. He just it's stupid. He also endorsed Mitt Romney.
Thurman or something?
Yeah, I could look it up, but he also endorsed Mitt Romney. He endorsed Spencer Cox, who was our rhino governor who cheated to get on the ballot and then cheated. So it's no, I could find it. It's not. He's not a senator. It's just the head of the GOP.
Oh, the head of the GOP.
Yeah, it's the head of the state GOP.
I do agree. I think the reason you feel the way you do is because Trump is not an idealist. He's a populist.
Yes.
And so you have disagreements with him because he isn't choosing the things based on what would be necessarily best for the party. He's picking the populist things. And that I do have disagreements with him.
You need to put that up
new?
too.
What?
You need to put that up as well.
What? Oh. Hold on. But so when he makes decisions, he's not doing it to
McDonald's.
He's not doing it as the best, most ideological choice for the future. He's doing it from a populist standpoint. And what people don't realize is the Mormons in Utah are actually more liberal than a lot of people think. Yeah. And so he's not actually doing that things that weird. I should just do it. Get there. If that makes sense. And so, Phil Lyman is definitely the more ideological pick and would fit better in the trajectory that we want to go. Yeah. But from a popularity standpoint in Utah, he is not the fit.
Yep.
And he would not be endorsed by the Mormon church, and that's what they need.
This is horribly funny.
Well, we're not there yet. We'll get there.
Sorry. Anyhow, it is. It's just, I pick on Trump when he does stupid things.
Well,
So
the biggest thing I have issues with Trump currently is he's let a group who've created this Trump coin for him keep on posting about it. It feels so slimy to me. Yeah. And you can tell because of the things he's said, he has nothing to do with it. He is not touching it. He's not really involved. They just kind of tell him what's going on. And I wish he'd be like, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah. But he's not going to. He's not going to.
So let's talk about the UK deal.
Trade negotiations. First off, trading negotiations. The funniest thing about this deal is the night before, I think it was the former press secretary for Biden, not the one that was there before he left, the other one. What was her name?
The redhead?
Yeah. She's talking about how Trump says he's the best negotiator and he can do all kinds of things, and he hasn't even negotiated one trade deal. And then the next morning, they announced
this one.
UK trade deal. Oh, yeah.
And in reality, there's some pieces of it that left the same across the board where they had been.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but there's some really things that changed.
So the main things I've heard that people had pushback on is that automotive tariffs are reduced for import from the UK. People don't realize that it's not just reduced. It's dropped to 10% for the first 100,000 cars, which is not a lot of cars. And then it goes back up to 25%. So they'll be able to sell some cars for cheaper in the US, but not a lot.
Yeah. And then they opened up their market more to us.
To farm goods and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we still have a 10% tariff on most of their goods.
Yeah.
So we won quite well on that deal.
Yep.
So this goes into trade talks in general. Do you support free trade?
Ideologically, well, maybe not philosophically. Maybe that's a better word. Philosophically, absolutely.
Yeah.
Reality, it can't happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why? Because free trade doesn't actually exist.
Correct. Because people, as they should, governments should protect their people, as they should. They should. Our president should worry more about the United States people, the citizens of the United States, than he should worry about the citizens of Mexico or the citizens of Canada, China, whatever. And that's the same with their governments. Their governments should worry about their people more.
So let me ask you this question. If there are no tariffs on any goods in any country in the world, should the U.S. still put tariffs on other countries?
Well, it's not just tariffs. It's also where they, and I'm looking for the right word. I'm struggling tonight.
Subsidize.
Where they subsidize industries to actually lower the cost of those goods. So
artificially.
Artificially drop the cost of the goods. So if you take that into account, which Trump has been doing.
Yes, he has.
Then all of a sudden, well, does a tariff need to exist? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why I'm actually, and I've listened to a lot of people who begrudgingly agree that China needs to be dealt with. And a lot of them are like, but Trump's not doing it right, and yet offer no solutions. I think Trump is doing literally what you have to do, and that is you don't get to sell anything in our market unless you negotiate with us. And that's negotiating on several points. One, they don't protect any of our intellectual property
at all.
If you patent a good, design it, make it, it's the newest thing that's ever existed, no one else has ever built it, you go to a manufacturer in China to have them build it, they will build it for you happily, and then they'll sell it to someone else, their neighbor, manufacture it themselves, and ship it to the U.S. as well.
Or they'll just give it to themselves.
Well, that too.
Under a different name. And
that too. So they still are IP. Yep. There's nothing we can do about it. They subsidize goods. So they on purpose sell goods to the United States that are paid. The cost is halved by the Chinese government so that they can undercut our market and destroy our manufacturing in the U.S. And then they tariff our goods coming into their country.
Well,
and then they enslave massive millions of groups of people and have horrible working conditions in their factories so that they have to put netting on the roofs of their factories so that people can't just jump off and kill themselves.
It's so like I said, philosophically, I'm totally agree with free trade, but reality, you're your philosophy needs to be rooted in reality, and if it's not, then you've got a problem with your philosophy.
I agree. Well, and that's the biggest thing is these economics who write books about economics and tell us how to do things from that perspective. That's not reality. And that's why I've come to the position on capitalism. Well, is in theory, I love capitalism. There is no country on earth that a free capitalistic society exists.
Right. We're crony capitalism here.
And so you have to deal with the actual reality and figure out how to make that better.
Yep.
And so that's what he's doing with tariffs. So this trade deal is awesome with the UK. He said there's going to be 4 or 5 more coming soon. I think what you're going to see is the UK is like the domino. And now that other countries have seen that they didn't have to give up everything to get a trade deal with the US, there's going to be a lot more people inking trade deals because they know that it's not draconian trade deals.
But that's how you negotiate. You ask for way more than you expect. And that's what Trump did.
Mm-hmm.
I want the world. I want you to
come to me and pay me.
Exactly.
What are they called? Oh, gosh, now I can't think. When you're the emperor of a kingdom, all the tribute. Come pay me tribute, and you can come sell your goods in the United States.
But that's negotiation. So
it is negotiations. You always start higher than you want to land, so that you have place to negotiate.
Yep.
We don't actually get that in the U.S. anymore. We don't negotiate on anything anymore, hardly at all, which is a good thing in a way, but it means that when you go to Mexico and you buy things, they laugh at you because you didn't negotiate.
Because they throw the biggest price they think they can, and then you go,
okay. The large majority of the world still negotiates, and they actually think it's polite, and they respect you more for negotiating.
And if you're tough, they respect you.
They respect you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they think you're a sucker.
And a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. What else is on our list? That's trade deals. Oh, this was fun. We'll talk about it for a little bit, but I'm happy about it. Did you know that Apple isn't the best company in the world, and they do things wrong sometimes? Actually, a lot of times. But Apple got sued by Epic Games like 3 or 4 years ago.
I think it was longer than that, wasn't it?
And Epic Games won their lawsuit.
Yeah.
And their lawsuit was Apple and Google, both, they sued them both, had a monopoly on app stores because that was the only way you could pay for their product was through the App Store. And so they won that, meaning that Epic Games in their apps and stuff could say, hey, you can go to our website to buy things instead of doing it through the App Store and save you money because Apple charges 30% of all things you purchase through the App Store, which is insanely expensive, especially for small creators. So they lost. Apple did, and so did Google. And Apple completely ignored the lawsuit.
The ruling in the lawsuit. Yeah.
Completely. Just completely ignored it. And so the federal judge found them guilty of ignoring the lawsuit and is forcing them to do something about it finally.
Yeah.
It took them forever, but it's the dumbest thing in the world. And they immediately changed their policies on the App Store so they
They're going to lose their company if they didn't. So anyhow, it's when you become such a big thing that you think you can get away with anything. It's kind of like we were talking about some of these judges and stuff. They got away with it for years, the politicians. So why not do just flagrantly disregard?
So 30% makes sense. This is the biggest thing I have with Apple and Google because everyone charges about the same percentage. Amazon does too. Is when you have a physical store with employees, a building, security, electronics, utilities, all that stuff,
it costs you
then
money.
A 30% charge makes tons of sense. Because you got to make space on your shelf for the product to be there. And then you've got cashiers and people have to come and buy stuff and all that stuff. In an app store, you have none of that overhead.
You got some developers.
30% is insane.
Yeah. Especially since most small developers, that's way above what they bring in. That would be their profit.
Yeah, it would be.
They're going to make 10% of the max most of the time. But yeah, so it's crazy. So this is good. I think, hopefully.
Yep. There's a couple. Did you see the lawsuit for Google being for antitrust?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Oh, they're going to have to split up.
Hopefully they don't sell Chrome to OpenAI. That's what I hope.
Well, OpenAI, the lawsuit with that.
Oh yeah,
Elon's
from Elon.
He's won.
Yeah.
Thus far. I mean, it's not
well,
over yet.
He hasn't gone anywhere. What happened is OpenAI tried to get them to throw out a bunch of his claims, and the judge said, "Nope, you can go forward with all of them."
Yeah, so it's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. So that'll be fun to watch. So, yeah, Apple's not perfect. Did you know that? So same with Samsung or any of the large manufacturers. You should not have loyalty to a massive conglomerate corporation. It's like they don't care about you as the consumer, as an individual. They care about their bottom line.
Yep.
So don't be loyal to a massive corporation. All right, so this next one's kind of fun. We're going to start with a really fun one. This one I liked a lot. And he may have gotten some flack for this, but I thought it was hilarious.
Well, the interesting thing, so I have a very small team that I work on it. There's only about 6 of us. And 2 people are on that team are Catholic.
Okay.
And good Catholics. They attend regularly.
That's awesome.
It's not just this, I was born Catholic. So they're actually active attending Catholics.
Yeah.
And this came up in one of our Scrum meetings, and that everybody was saying that this was horrible. And it was the news media saying this was horrible.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And so I asked the 2 Catholics, I said, we have 2 Catholics on this call right now. Are either of you offended by this? And they both went, no, we have a sense of humor.
It's like, so the thing Trump understands, and guess what? Trump didn't actually post this. Correct. One of the people who had access to the account posted. But he who was asked about it, he's like, I thought it was funny. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? He knows how to rage bait the left. He is so hard. And the funny thing is, the most of the people I've seen on social media mad about this are atheists.
Yeah, I mean, you don't believe it. So
you're not even Catholic. You don't care. It's like the DEI thing with racism or whatever. Or no, cultural appropriation. Do you know the people who are most upset about cultural appropriation?
White liberal women.
Yep.
Yes. It's now, just to take this one step further, that's the one I had him look up.
Oh, here you go.
This is to take it one step further.
White smoke rises from McDonald's chimney, signaling a working ice machine.
Obviously, they had a fire there, but they took it to this next level.
Yeah.
And so we do have an American Pope. First one ever.
We do.
I don't know what this we stuff is. I don't have an American Pope.
Well, and technically Christians don't, because the Pope is not a Christian, or the Catholic Church is not a Christian institution. And I'm gonna probably offend some people saying that, but it's not. There's nowhere in the Bible that it's in there.
We can have that. That's a theological argument, and I would have it happily with anyone if they want to come and sit and meet with me for a coffee or a beer. I'm more than happy.
Yeah.
On this podcast, not so much.
Oh, come on, it'd be fun.
Because it would be, this is funny. If you look at this, this
hilarious.
Is funny. Because it's just, I mean, I saw one where they had, oh gosh, what's the rapper that smokes all the dope? And he was sneaking
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg with a bunch of marijuana to put in the fire to change the color.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was just.
But yeah, we have an American Pope, and you want to know the conspiracy theory behind why he was elected?
Yeah.
To control Trump.
But he's anti-Trump.
Actually, we don't know much about him.
Well, I saw somebody who posted a series of things that he had said.
Yeah, and those were from several years ago. So most of his content is old. So we don't actually know a lot of his stances. So a lot of what is said about him is speculation, but that is the conspiracy theory, is that he was elected to try to control Trump because there's lots of Catholics in America, and so if they could turn the Catholics against
and there's
Trump,
lots of Catholics in Trump's the word
administration,
yes,
on his team.
There's a ton of Catholics on his team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Pete Hegseth is what's the other guy from Fox that they took over there? Anyhow, he was on one of the morning shows. Oh, he's got 9 kids. Duffy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's a Catholic. So, I mean, and I'm not saying Catholics are bad people at all. They're great people.
No,
it's just that I'm not a Catholic, and so
nor am I.
Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal. I'd love to talk to anybody, but I don't want to do it via text message, phone call. Let's sit down and have a coffee. Let's have
we need to have a heated debate.
And just
heated debate. We need to yell at each other for half an hour and for no one to learn anything.
Correct. That's what we do here.
We agree on most things, sadly.
All right. So anyhow, that was our fun one. Of the Pope stuff.
I mean, we could talk about other things because Pete Hegseth made some fun announcements this week as well.
He did.
He's kicking all the trans people out of the military, which he should be able to.
And the one thing he just tweeted today.
Oh, yeah, about the West Point Naval Academy and Air Force Academy.
Yeah, he said that those... Okay, so it was all 3 services. So it's West Point,
Naval Academy,
Air Force Academy. He said, the selection criteria for coming into it will only be done by merit. There will be no consideration of race. There's going to be no consideration of sex. Nothing but merit, which is a fantastic thing. We want the smartest, the meanest, the healthiest.
We want to go back to the commercials of for the military where it's like the toughest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And they changed those when Biden was in office.
Well, they changed it before that with Obama. They went to Army of One with Obama.
Yeah, it's
like
just
that's an army.
No, it's just it makes sense. And the pushback that the politicians on the left and a lot of the corporate press are making against like the trans stuff is everyone should be allowed. No, actually not. And do you know why trans people shouldn't be allowed in the military? Because the military doesn't allow a lot of people with diagnosed mental disorders in the military.
Correct.
And if you didn't know, being trans is in the DSM-5 as a diagnosable medical condition.
Yeah.
Mental disorder.
Mental. Yeah, and it's...
We do not want people with mental disorders in the military.
No. And so it's a wonderful day for that. I think he's doing a great job thus far. The Supreme Court's ruled that Pete, has the right to get rid of all the trans people, and they had until today to do it voluntarily.
Yep.
And if they didn't do it today, leave the services, they're going to do it involuntarily next week.
Well, and if it's involuntary, there's some consequences I do believe to benefits and stuff. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe there are some additional consequences for getting forced out of the military. It's kind of like the illegals in the U.S. Their offer is, if you leave now, you might be able to come back as a citizen. If we arrest you and throw you out, you're never coming back.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we can land the plane there. And again, if you want something to funny look at, go look at Trump as the Pope. That's hilarious. But I think that's all we got to talk about today.
Yep.
So if you liked our discussion, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Feel free to comment in the description or leave a comment with your questions, thoughts, or snide remarks. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
All right.
Take care, guys.